Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Let me turn that music down because it's a bit loud. Welcome to the weekly Steelchair, where we had a little break because things get in the way, health amongst other things. So we're back, killing it.
I want full full clarity here. I have asked the last 2 weekends.
I'll let you off on that one.
I have sent the messages to ask. I have been set. So if we're going to be angry at anyone, as usual, we've got to be angry at Reece.
No, we don't. But
no, you don't have me catching strays here.
I never said it was you.
But you didn't say it wasn't.
I don't have to. I'll let them figure it out.
Anyway, we're here for the much anticipated latest
What's up, Fernando?
Argument, as it were. Debate, discussion, but most certainly argument too. These shows are getting awfully a lot more hostile than they used to be.
Is it really hostile, or is it just the way that it comes across where right now it isn't as enjoyable as it was a couple of weeks ago on a variety?
I think what's happened is, if you imagine that we're both we're on different sides of a crack in the earth, and that crack is widening. Now you can clip that if you want and have a clip of me saying the crack is widening, if that's what you like to have and do. But but that divide between us is widening, where I am getting more and more and more sick of AEW shit, and you are getting more and more and more sick of WWE shit. And it makes
it depends on what it is. I think the thing is, though, is we remain consistent to what it is we actually like and what we don't like, so I don't think that's the problem. I don't actually think that's the problem. I think the problem is I'm going to say this, and I don't care if it gets clipped. I actually don't care. I don't care if it gets clipped. Pro wrestling right now just isn't overall. I've lowered the screen so you can see this. Pro wrestling right now isn't as exciting as people claim it is. Like it's not for me right now enjoyable on a grand scale.
That's a broad discussion point.
Well, you might be a Milotic today, but I'm calling it straight from the hip as a golem. It's plain and simple.
You've got the wrong Pokemon.
Well, it depends. What generation are you? Hold on. It's Gen 3 for the eyes.
You're in the same generation, but it's Gen 3. I'm actually just sorting while you chat away.
Is that Flygon?
It's not, no. You were right about the type as well. You just got the wrong one.
Water type.
Yep.
Well, let's see. So
people often forget that this one's actually in Gen 3. Anyway, what I'm currently doing is getting... No. I've done Love Disc already. This looks nothing like Love Disc. Come on.
Gen 3.
Like.
Oh, right, okay.
Can't make it any more obvious.
a Feebas.
No.
That's also Gen 3. You're not a Magikarp.
No, another Gen 3.
Oh, Carvana.
Yeah, well done.
I'll let you off then. See, I was going through all the Gen 3
I'm not sure I can actually reward you that. I need to click off the main line.
To be fair, I was playing my Soul Silver on the train home, so I can't really say much.
Excited for WWE's Bloodsport event? Absolutely not.
All right, Maria. Well, to be fair, I will be watching it just on the grand scale. I don't mind Bloodsport. I mean, it's actually more fun at times than most UFC events, and I watch UFC. So there you go.
I'm just glad you said that are hash shit, even though you aren't a fan of AEW. I can respect,
Yeah. I think wide variety. That's all it is. We just say it as it is. I mean, it's one thing we don't do when we're on here. We might take the mic and make random takes that may come across as mental, but we don't lie to our audience. We say it as we feel. I think this is also true. You know, it's fun. I actually think this is true. Every promotion right now isn't looking anything remotely good.
Tony Khan. That's him. That's him. If you track it directly, we are 5.5 years into Tony Khan running a wrestling company.
Mm-hmm.
And every single promotion outside of, and this is my biased take, outside of WWE, because they have the infrastructure, every single other company has lost the booking power.
But WWE isn't booking any good stories right now either. So if
We're
anything,
gonna discuss that one. We're gonna jump in because you're calling
you can
it
try. You
a
can try, but
confusing road to WrestleMania.
I wouldn't mind Pete Dunne versus Zack Sabre Jr. in Bloodsport. That would kill.
It depends. Bloodsport to me, it's always just been like, oh well, Bloodsport. I'm not going to watch that. I don't like that. But
it's never going to be like the movie. But at least it's actually somebody knows what they're doing.
Bloodsport was supposed to be like this sort of technical wrestling stuff, but then you see some people.
That's not what it is.
No, but it should be.
No, Bloodsport is supposed to be like. It's based on the actual like movie concept set from the 80s, the Van Damme movie, so it's not technical.
I get that they based it off of that. What I'm saying is that's fucking stupid. And if you want to do it in the context of wrestling, it should be more to do with technical wrestling.
I would prefer like that.
The idea of like breaking bones and stuff, not the idea of I'm going to hit you with blunt thing.
I would say in the sense it is meant to be more the MMA style. I actually think they're missing a trick. I agree in the sense of the technical side, but I actually think it should be more just shoot fighting. It should just be more of a shoot style.
It doesn't work.
It does for Bloodsport, but not elsewhere in much situations, but it does in a way. Did any of you watch the Hell in a Cell Dark Side of the Ring? It was awesome. I did watch it. I'm only looking forward to 3 episodes for the entire series. The rest of it can go fuck itself.
Mm-hmm.
That episode. The Tony Atlas episode and the Daphne episode are the only ones I'm looking forward to. The rest can piss off.
Well, if only we were starting with the AEW stuff, because if only we were starting with the AEW stuff, because then I could talk about the future Dark Side of the Ring episode that we're going to get. But we'll have to unfortunately come on to that later.
There's so many Dark Side of the Ring that they've actually missed out on.
Again, pulling back the curtain here, sorry to disturb kayfabe, right? Reece does not run the titles of these streams by me. I join and we go.
It's my channel.
Yeah, but it's co-hosting, you know?
You facilitate. You get involved.
Yes, I just see the title. So I want to know. Confusing.
Yeah.
We can go step by step if you like.
I could have said much worse, but I said confusing.
Okay, but what is it? What is? Let's go with thing number one then. Give me something you're confused about for WrestleMania.
The actual way they're actually building to WrestleMania is confusing because they've not actually set anything tangibly in stone, which doesn't help.
They have. Cody's fighting John Cena.
It's not exactly been. It's not in the sense of what is set in stone in terms of the matches. It's the actual vicinity of getting to it. They've done nothing. Like, there's no actual build-up. There's no build-up
to get to the match. The point is that they've
given
given you the matches. They have told you the matches that are happening,
and there's no build.
Then the people who are in the matches are appearing and building hype for those matches.
There's nothing for them in terms of hype, though. There's no hype. In my opinion anyway, there's no hype. I'm actually waiting for something to stand firm.
What do they do for hype?
Well, for one, they've done nothing for the main Raw feud. Jay versus Gunther, we've already seen. That's not exactly.
They had Jimmy Uso come back this week, which was a nice callback, and Jimmy Uso's now standing by.
Nothing.
Jimmy Uso's standing by his brother, which means that, Jay isn't as good as Gunther, but he's got more heart than him. That's the whole story they're telling. Plus, they have been doing something because Jay purposely slept in the ring.
Yeah, was it on purpose?
Last week, he purposely did it this week, and that also builds, because now it's like in the match, you can see that he might slip, but then Gunther won't take advantage of it, and he'll get let off, or he'll slip and it'll be a near fall.
I mean, yeah, but to be fair, we've criticised Jey Uso for Well,
we've criticised him, but
how
the way
long?
I always view it, these are the ingredients we've got. This is the cake we can make. No, I don't want it to be Jey Uso. But to call it a confusing road to WrestleMania because Jey Uso won the Rumble,
It's not confusing because he won it, though. I'm already past that. It's nothing to do with that. It's confusing in the sense that they're not actually giving more to it. Like they're just reduced Gunther's concept as a champion.
Gunther doesn't need to be. Bearing in mind, Brock Lesnar used to never show up. Gunther's there.
That's beside the point. That's beside the point. Like we already know.
Gunther's there. That's an upgrade. He reminds you that he's there. His presence is there, and literally,
which is more appreciated, which is fine.
And literally, he was on the show this week, and Jimmy saved Jey from another attack from Gunther. That is building.
See, the thing is, they've already got it wrong. Ironically,
they had it wrong from the fact that it was Jey. But like I'm saying, now that it's Jey and Gunther, now that you know you've got CJ and Gunther, I don't see a clear problem with what they are building, bearing in mind they had to build a Jey and Gunther.
I think what they've done, inconsequently, and this is where my issue lies, in the past couple of weeks alone on this European tour, which has been here and there, when you look at the European tour alone, I don't particularly like either of them, but I actually think Jimmy Uso's contributed far more than Jey has the entire time.
But
I think and that's in consequence.
Jey's having a crisis of confidence. That's why Jimmy's contributed more, because Jimmy's stepping up to support Jey. That's the story. Especially because they split apart, and we know how they split apart. And even when they'd kind of mended it, it wasn't quite like, they weren't quite bosom buddies and tag partners again. Jimmy still lets Jey be Jey, but the idea now is that Jimmy can still be Jimmy and support Jey.
That's a good point. It's fair. I just think the reality of it is it's still not going to get the payoff we want or the payoff it deserves. What's up,
None of us are going to get the payoff we want because Jey's going to win the world title.
Yeah, we can all take drugs after that. Why are people getting so defensive about Jey in the IWC? If I knew the answer, I would tell you.
It's he's popular.
It's because he's Samoan. There's nothing else about him. It's
because he's popular and he's got an easy gimmick.
Yeah, Samoan creator wrestler. That's all he is. He's just basic.
But yeah, Sammy was more over than Jey. But as I say, they went with Jey Uso to win the Rumble. That was wrong. But you can't keep...
Yeah.
I mark people... Like I'm a tutor. I mark people's maths. I can't penalise the same mistake twice. If they make that mistake... Well, if they make a mistake in step 2 of a sum, but it's a 5-mark question... I can't just give them 1 mark if they've done the rest of it right and got step 2 wrong. They get 4 marks, even though one of them's wrong. In this case,
I agree.
Jey Uso winning the Rumble is an incorrect mark. From there, the working has actually been pretty good. The step-by-step, stage-by-stage. Because what would have been far worse is if they built it so that Gunther was on a level playing field with him. And instead, they've gone the Gunther and Sami Zayn route. Only this time... Jey has been beaten by Gunther every time.
Yeah.
Sami, they hadn't fought that many times, but Sami said, I'm the man who's always been told that I can't do it. So watch me do it. And then at WrestleMania, he actually beat Gunther. They're telling it that way. So I think if you look past the fact that it's a Rumble winner that really none of us wanted.
Still don't want, but
no, we still don't want, but you can't go back and change it. In terms of what they're doing with Jey Uso, I actually don't have a problem with it. I think it's been quite strong. That's my
I just think the reality is when it eventually gets to the actual match itself and you see the issue, I'm hoping that somebody just has the balls and just calls an audible and just says he is not winning this. But we know that it doesn't really matter. I'll tell you what is quite scary. The fact is we see how bad the botches are. And again, a botch can happen. I'm not going to essentially come at someone and say, "Oh, they're a terrible worker" or anything like that. A botch can happen. Even the best has made botches. Like that's a reality. But it's quite frightening that it's had such a reaction from a social media standpoint. That, again, that depends on people's narrative and people's view. But that botched spear on Austin Theory is still continuously making dislikes on social media, which I find quite staggering. Again, that's not me. I've not watched the video on YouTube, so I'm not going to contribute a like or a dislike. But it is getting incredibly astronomical now. You know what I mean? Like, it's interesting. In terms of your question, Paul.
Well, night two's obviously Cena Cody.
I think it's going to be the triple threat: Roman versus Seth versus Punk, and then Punk wins. Roman takes the pin from Rollins, and Heyman walks out with Rollins.
There's only one. That would be an interesting term for that. There are only two options for what can headline night one.
It won't be the woman.
Well, that's it. You've either got Charlotte, which does not have it just doesn't have it. It just doesn't have it. And if you put the other women's world title match, which yes is going to be better, but you can't put it on as a main event because it actually didn't do anything to earn the main event.
It hasn't exactly pushed well.
Rollins and Reigns didn't do anything to earn the main event, but individually they all did. Like, individually, all three of those guys deserve to be in the main event of night one. So I think that's a fairly
maybe it's just
way to go. Maybe night is locked in. It's Cena Cody.
I think maybe they just have to do, even if it's not the right thing, but maybe they just have to put both world championships as both main events. Because I agree, there's nothing safe. I mean, we can't. I already said that Io Sky was going to take the title anyway. That was guaranteed. I said Io Sky was going to beat Rhea Ripley before when the match got announced. It was a no-brainer. I already said it was going to be a women's triple threat, so I'm not surprised. But they've not actually done anything. Io Sky hasn't been. She's been secondary. Actually, I wouldn't even say secondary. She's been booked thirdly in this entire feud since its inception. She has to win at Mania.
She was the third one to feature.
She has to win at WrestleMania, otherwise this whole thing's just going to be a bust.
If you look at the order of the events, though, Rhea was champion. She was first in the match. Bianca then wins the Elimination Chamber to make her second in the match.
By right.
Io Sky is the fly in the ointment. She's the one
she was given it by that. Yeah, she was given the title match. Like,
she got it off her own
merit.
In a way. Obviously, Bianca helped, but she won the match. So I'm not saying that she was inserted. This isn't a Charlotte Flair WrestleMania 35 where she just gets put in because she's Charlotte. Io has earned the world title. Right,
I agree. Let's have Catherine. I agree with that. Io has deserved
I like the way that they booked it so that Io's third. And if you watch the attack angle again from Raw, if you watch the three-way, everything was hit the big move on Io. No, Io's going to counter it. Io looked very, very strong on Raw.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it was good to see.
I've seen a lot of people criticizing this in a different way. I've seen a lot of people criticizing this in a different way. I've seen people criticizing this because saying that in the judgment it was all too choreographed. But I didn't have an issue with it at all. I mean, it actually looked clean in that way.
I genuinely thought that Rhea had caught Io for a riptide.
Yeah.
Like when she did the run on the outside, I thought Rhea had caught her. So when she actually just hit the Hurricane Rana, I was like, oh, all right.
Yeah.
Io's getting a bit strong here, but I mean, she countered out of Rhea's move. She countered out the KOD.
She countered all of it.
Yeah, she moved off to the apron and she sort of sucker punched Bianca as well.
I don't think it comes into play just yet, Paul. I don't think she's looking like a whiny bitch. I think she's just doing exactly what she did. Like,
the only thing the favor could be that could play into it now would be
she just leaves Roman.
Would be the main event.
Is that really the main event that he would want the favor for? If it's to bump. To be fair though, actually, we'll come to that shortly because that poses a different question.
I don't like that they're making Rhea look like a whiny, but I do. I think it's great when you've had someone who was, bearing in mind she was heel when this started.
Yeah.
And she's like Seth Rollins. She became face out of just sheer bloody mindedness, and the fans would not boo her. And they loved the Mami stuff. And they would boo Judgment Day, but they would cheer Rhea. They like Rhea. So Rhea turned face out of necessity.
It's almost as if I was right all along, Catherine.
And then Rhea when she lost the title, that makes her sympathetic. Not only that, but bearing in mind, if you look at her last year, she got injured and then worked a program with Liv Morgan and got injured again in that program. So she was definitely babyface. When you're babyface, you have to be more vulnerable.
Yeah, you can't be.
She lost the title, which if you go with the context of that character, that meant she wasn't going to WrestleMania.
Absolutely, which I agree on.
And the Raw, as I said, the Raw exclusive promo, like after the show, was brilliant. Where she just sat on.
I haven't watched it, so I don't know what she
just sat on an equipment case for 4 or 5 minutes and just cut a promo about how she keeps taking her eye off the ball.
I don't think Rhea's been. See, this is a contradiction. I think some things of Road to WrestleMania is confusing. I think Rhea's Road to WrestleMania is exactly what I would expect. The only thing that I don't think goes in Rhea's favor is she's in the match with someone who's never lost at WrestleMania, but this is also the time where neither has to win. This is a match where Bianca Belair actually shouldn't be winning, and it's also one that Rhea justifiably shouldn't be either. This match actually needs to be an Io Sky win, because you need to actually further the advancement of 2 other programs.
It depends. I think it's one of the most intriguing.
It's hard to call.
The fact that we've got these 2 like main event level triple threats, they're both really hard to call.
I think this is the hardest one to call the entire show, personally. Like, out of all the matches announced so far.
For WrestleMania so far, I think so. But once again, we're getting matches out of the WWE where it's not just, and then this person's going to win and we're going to continue on. And yes, WWE are awful for the fact that they're awful in the way that they only seem to do this at WrestleMania. Everything else can feel a bit paint by numbers. I mean, obviously they've shocked us with the Royal Rumble winner this year.
They've also. Here's another thing. This is what I wanted to ask you, because I think this is also the thing. Now, I believe I said it to you on a stream first, and then I've just pretty much carried on with it ever since, because I do believe it was going to happen anyway. I said it was going to happen. I said it was going to be multi-men matches at WrestleMania. It was pretty obvious that for the Intercontinental title has been multi-man. I just don't like the way they've gone about it, but the way they've actually led up to it, you can see now clearly, and I'm pretty sure I've still got it as a banner, I think. Let me just double check. Yeah. If you notice, every single one so far, apart from Dragunov, Pete Dunne, and Bronson Reed, have all had matches with Braun Breaker for the title in the past couple of months. Yeah, and it seems like they're formulating, but now come to WrestleMania, in terms of who you've got,
Dunne's going to happen. He seems to be on excursion.
I've ruled them out. I think now when you get to WrestleMania, it's going to be Penta, not Styles. He's going to get Logan Paul, which is pathetic anyway. He's going to get Penta, Dominic Mysterio, Finn Balor, and maybe Kaiser in a 5-man match, unless they add a 6th in like Sheamus.
Dragunov should return at WrestleMania. After the match.
Or like cement himself as like, I don't know, stand on the entrance ramp and just like look at the
announce himself as back. Bear in mind, this is a guy that got absolutely battered and steamrolled. So the idea that Braun Breaker overcomes the field at WrestleMania and then Dragunov's back, and Braun can do that sort of cocky like, okay, well I dealt with you last time, and then Dragunov's got more of an edge, more of a cope, I should say.
I'm not sure about that.
In Dublin last week. I did see that. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I'm not
version.
I'm not. I honestly do not want this match. I wanted Styles to get involved in the title mix, but to be fair, if he's with Logan, fine. I don't see
No, I
EO
think
as main
AJ
event.
Styles going and having his match with Logan Paul will be all right, but AJ
It'd
Styles,
be
he's at the
interesting.
stage. He's at the stage of his career, AJ Styles, and it's sad to say, but he just has his match. Like they're all the same,
Hmm.
and it's
I,
perfectly fine match. But you've seen all the spots.
I don't see EO as a main event. I see her as top of the mid card. She doesn't have great mic skills. She's a manager. I disagree on the mic skills. I actually think she's actually very good on the mic. She's actually a lot better than most Asian talent they have when it comes to using English, even if it's broken at times.
Yeah,
I
and
think she has a different level of charisma. This is the thing. Not everyone needs to have good mic skills, but she still does her job well. She
plus,
works.
she does have great mic skills in Japanese.
Yeah, but she actually does quite well with broken English.
No, but same with Asuka. People said Asuka couldn't talk, so Asuka can talk, just
She
in
doesn't need to.
Japanese. Because
They don't need to talk.
yeah, but it's like, guess what? I bet you if we understood Japanese, they'd be cutting killer promos. We just don't know the
Yeah.
language.
They want the double forearm spot. Well, they want more than that, probably.
How does that work
I
then?
think it'll be 5 or
Because
6.
Logan Paul has to land it. Like Logan Paul has to land.
Oh, he'll find a way.
AJ's striking him from up, and Logan Paul has to land.
I think the one thing is we'll find out in Mania because I guarantee it'll be one of the closing spots.
Do you mean two forearms at the same time, Paul, or do you mean one into the other?
I would probably
I'm
say.
just intrigued what
I
you
would
think,
say.
because,
I'm
like,
think yeah. It's possible. I mean, like AJ hits his combination, then he finishes with a forearm, and then
unless you
Logan
don't
ricochet
mean
off.
buckshot. Like, unless you don't mean Logan's going to hit the right, it'll be the same. Right? Well, maybe Keem, maybe. Like I
Are
said,
they
I
gonna
want to
ca-
know if it's like buckshot. It doesn't
If it's-
really work.
If it because
There's
AJ,
no reason for him to go for the buckshot if AJ's on the other side of the ring.
I mean, what's AJ gonna do? Eat a buckshot lariat and then just force himself up like a Rikishi
Exactly.
spin floor, and
Or
then,
like,
and then-
or is he going to dodge it and then hit it? Braun should have faced AJ at Mania. AJ's too cold.
AJ needs to re-establish himself in that scene, but I actually think the wrong side of it, Braun. I mean, if he had been a little bit more like warm in the sense of his booking upon return, then yes, that's why I named him because I thought he would have been, but he hasn't. But Braun's already got enough challengers. The problem with Braun is he's already faced them all so far in high-profile main events. So he's faced them all. So how do you beat him? I mean, I think if the best thing for Braun should be leaving WrestleMania as champion, in my opinion. I actually think realistically, Braun's match for the title should be either a ladder match or it should be an elimination match, and Braun gets himself disqualified. Like he just loses the plot.
But
I mean,
that's because I think it should go to Dragunov after.
Dom to win the IC title, I can see that happening, but
Possibly. Anyway,
I
so
don't know.
obviously Keen's asking for it. People want to hear it. People want to see it. People want this argument.
You can argue. I'm just going to stay silent because I just don't like it.
Right. Okay. Well, here we go then. I've got to criticize WWE here. Got to go at
Probably a
them.
lot.
Yeah. Got to go at them here because.
Can we also get the fact that Cody's also failed to do one thing so far?
Well,
I'll let you get to it if you know what I'm thinking of, but I'll let you continue.
Yeah. So I need to criticize this here. How dare WWE deprive us of John Cena for so long, for him to come back and be the biggest arsehole in the positive light. I hate John Cena now. I didn't think they could do it. I didn't think it was possible for them to do it. But John Cena, week on week, has just become insufferable. And it's brilliant. Because my whole panic about when John Cena turned heel was, it's not going to work. People are going to cheer him. And they cheer the music for about a second. and then they realize it's John Cena, and he gets fucking booed, and it's brilliant, and the heel turn has worked. John Cena's cutting some of the best promos of his life, and I mean that. This is brilliant stuff from John Cena. He is, and what I love most about this, and I can't take credit for this viewpoint. I saw it somewhere. I saw it in a comment, and then I was like, that's actually true. This feud is not John Cena versus Cody Rhodes. This feud is John Cena versus the WWE. Cody Rhodes is the guy in our corner. Cody Rhodes is, if we were on 2K right now, Cody Rhodes is the guy that we've chosen to fight as to take on John Cena. Which, to be fair, was a game mode in 2K15, I want to say. We had to beat Super Cena.
To be fair, that was a couple of games ago as well.
This is Super Cena. And it's brilliant.
Okay.
And Cody's been great too. But Cody's always great. Love Cody. And the guy's right. John Cena has more heat than all the AEW roster combined. He has more heat than anyone else in wrestling combined right now. He is the most hated man in wrestling. He is one of the most hated and, like, based on what we're seeing, universally hated heels. He is more hated than Drew McIntyre. He has managed to take this thing, take a character that was like right up there in terms of fan appreciation, and in what, a month, he is the most hated guy in wrestling. And it's great. It's in the spike bat. We'll get to that.
Okay. Anything else you want to add to that?
I mean, the European crowds have made it better. The European crowds have absolutely made it better. They need to make this road to WrestleMania, going to Europe thing, annual. They just do. The crowds are way more up for it. And, you know, these shows have delivered. And the idea that they're on the road as well means that we're not getting these phoned in episodes of Raw and SmackDown. They're actually trying. And they continue to try. Even though it's, 12 weeks between Rumble and Mania. They've been trying every single week. They've not let up. And it's great. Go ahead.
What?
Go ahead.
Me? Go ahead.
Go ahead.
This hasn't worked.
Okay.
I look at it in consequence. So, for one, I think they've missed a few tricks already that you can't get back. And again, I blame people choosing to be part-timers for this. But in consequence, we've not had once any mention of the person who actually made this happen in the first place, whenever that's going to be.
No,
that's actually a miss trick.
It's a miss trick.
It's still a miss trick.
He's a fucking egotistical cock who wanted to insert himself into the main event again, and WWE are telling him to get fucked. I think it's a different case.
Considering he has more power than pretty much anyone there, they ain't telling him shit.
I think they can tell him to get fucked again if the fans don't want to see him.
Like he's gonna care what fans think.
If the fans say that they're not fucking gonna watch if Rock ends up beating Cody or whatever, you know, the same way they shat out to taking Cody out of WrestleMania last year because of the fans. Because that was shit. They were going to do it.
They did.
They were going to remove Cody. They were going to do Roman Rock, and the fans told them to fuck off. And I think this year, the fans have been even louder in telling The Rock to fuck off. But not only that, you even have professionals and former professionals and people on podcasts. This is universal here. And it's not work. It's shoot. Shoot. Everyone is saying, we don't want to see the fucking Rock.
Never said we have to see him.
So what? He's going to be fucking casted like you're in Star Wars? What do you mean?
No. We don't necessarily need to see him. But they need to tie that loose end.
No, they don't. Just say the Rock's a dick. Move on.
No. All he needs to do, theoretically, and this is what he should have done the night after. Sorry, I'll rephrase that. The Raw after Chamber. The Raw after Chamber. This is where the missed opportunity is. They should have had Rock and Cena come out, even though Cena chose to go and do other things. Part-timers. Again, main eventing. Fucking pathetic. You've chosen the turn. Fine. No problem. I'm not actually phased about that anyway. You've chosen to do the turn, and yet you get nothing for weeks on end, when theoretically you should have had Rock appear for 5 minutes on the Chamber, like Raw post-Chamber.
They can't do anything if he can't be fucked.
Is that on him, though?
Yes, because CM Punk called him out for it.
Yes, CM Punk also called himself out, but that's
grace us with your presence, do your bullshit, slap your arm, pretend you care.
He also called himself out, but that's the irony. But
I think if you look at that promo and the bit that Punk said about The Rock, I think there was more to that than just character.
Of course there was.
I think Punk was telling Rock to get fucked again.
Because he knows that if he doesn't, he'll send Punk packing.
They couldn't do that.
He could.
I'm telling you right now, the riot those fans would have, it would tank WWE's stock to new fucking lows. If they just got Punk back and then Rock... Plus, it would sink The Rock in this industry.
So many reasons.
People hate The Rock because he's decided that since Hollywood's not his fucking bag anymore, and he keeps making failure after failure after failure after failure after failure. Red One, by the way.
Watched it.
He's behaving like a fucking knob end on film sets, so no one actually wants to work with him. They just get him.
That is true.
And he's decided to come back to wrestling because he thinks that wrestling fans still want to see him. But the problem is wrestling fans don't still want to see him. They want to see the people that are popular. And that's the thing. He is
I agree with this.
Product of the past. The past. I know Cena's a product of the past, but it's the recent past and he's been around.
Yeah.
Rock comes back when he needs to drum up some appeal, and it's that.
I agree.
Or he does a shitty article on GQ about how he's a family man with a ranch, and he's just a bullshit artist, and that's what people don't like about The Rock.
Yeah, to be fair, I more like the authority on him in the sense of it, but like I've always said, like growing up, I was a Rock fan. Like I was. So, but that's no lie about it. I've said it barefaced and lie. Like I was a Rock fan growing up, but I haven't particularly. And he wonders why he doesn't get on this show. Fucking Mark.
Love you, Billy. Nice to see you.
Fucking Mark. He has had no contribution to wrestling since 2003.
2013. I'll be
No,
generous.
nah, I won't be.
Well, I'll be generous. 2013, twice in a lifetime, he made it work.
I would love to praise it, but nah, I can't. Even though it was 2 back-to-back main events with Cena, it never actually. It didn't do Rock anything. You know what I mean? Like, it did nothing. Rusty is lad and lady, just to let you know. But welcome, everyone. No referring tonight. There is 12 people watching. Please do like and don't be a dick. But that's the manner of it. The Rock hasn't actually done anything meanwhile in a long time. Like, I actually don't care anymore. I can't see that. I knew that was coming. I knew that was coming. I shouldn't laugh, but I like the I like the mannerism.
I'm being polite.
You are. See? He understands. See? Thank you.
The show's just boring. Can we all agree John Cena can't? Yeah, he can. He's doing a great job.
I'll just let that one sit up for 5 minutes.
Okay, Billy, respect here. What do you mean by he can't act heel?
It doesn't come across as right to him, in my opinion. I think the problem is, and that's where it doesn't.
Across is right to him. He's been doing it 20 fucking years, not as a heel.
I think the problem is, and this is where it goes wrong for him, and this is just my opinion. It doesn't matter that he's a heel now. Wait. When did I say that? I never said anything about he's better babyface or better as a heel. I just think they missed a trick. Cena turned heel at the wrong time. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, for me, it doesn't matter. Like, he should have turned heel after Rock beat him 13 years ago.
Well, yeah, but they didn't do it. And if you're gonna hold a grudge against somebody for,
I'm not holding a grudge. I'm just saying, that was the missed trick.
If your criticism of the John Cena heel turn now is that it's too late, like again, we're
I think to say it's too late is fair. I think to say it's too late is fair.
Things that can't be fixed. Let's look at
what
that's true. In the moment. Let's try
I'm just replying to Maria. That's a fact. Like, that is a fact.
That's true, actually. But let's try and be sort of progressive and productive here. Let's look at what they can do now. And yes, Cena going heel does feel a bit forced, but it's going to, because he never actually has done it before. It's going to feel forced because we're not used to seeing it. It's going to be heel. No, because the whole point is that he doesn't wear what we wear what he wears. He's literally said this in a promo. He's not going to change shit about himself because it's always been about him, and we've just been supporting him because it's all we've got.
See, Cody's already let me down already by saying he doesn't want to talk. He says he just wants to go after him. He's already pussied out multiple times. I mean, the only promo that Cody's actually done reasonably well was the one just there. Anything else prior to that hasn't delivered for me. The one the other night did.
Yeah, well, you fix Cody's role in this one of two ways, and one of them wouldn't work. So the other way is Cena would need some kind of personal security. Now, they don't want Cena to have security, even though he maybe should, but they don't want him to, because his whole point is then he brings out a t-shirt. Yeah, because once again,
this is what they do, though. That's not on him.
Yeah, but he literally said it in the promo. He said, I don't wear what you wear what I wear. You dress like me. That's what he said. That's the whole point. They're on purposely releasing the t-shirts. They won't let him have a promo battle because Cena will tear Cody up on the mic. Exactly. And that's where I'm getting to.
Cody wouldn't last 5 seconds. I don't care what anyone says.
Most wrestlers wouldn't last 5 seconds. John Cena's a master of the promo.
I don't even think he needs... This is the funny thing. He doesn't even need to have a promo with him. Like, and I'm not saying, we need a promo battle because that's what people obsess over. We don't need a promo battle because he only has to say one thing. I'm coming for 17 and there's no way you can stop me. if Cena could easily just pull the golden shovel on Cody and it's already game over. We already know this. The guy's been doing it for decades. It makes no plain sailing. This is what the
No, I get that. I get that.
Like the machine is still. This is what I think people don't realize, and when they eventually catch up, then I'll celebrate with you. The machine is still behind Cena. The machine is not Cody Rhodes. The machine wants to be Cody Rhodes.
No, but it doesn't matter. Wrestling for the last 20 years has been, well, certainly the last 15 years has been, fans against machine, universe against machine. When the WWE universe stuff came about, they've always been backing different people to either who we want to see or who we like. That's kind of how we got a Roman Reigns title reign for 1,300 days.
Mm-hmm.
That's why that happened, because they are behind Roman. Roman did a superb job with that spot, but the WWE Universe would not have booked Roman Reigns to be a champion for over 3 years.
They wouldn't even have him champion for more than 30 days. Let's be real.
Probably not. But that, again, is because fans they grow tired of things really quickly, which is another point that Cena made in his promo. I'm done with you, so you cheer you.
Please don't. There's only one.
Not as a heel. His heel promo is the same every week. I don't think it is the same every week. And bear in mind, he's only done 2. I think it's kind of unfair.
Cody's
it's not been the same every week.
I will say that Cody's promos are more or less the same, but anything else in general, not so much. I think they're trying to make it adaptable and different. The problem is, and this is where the concept is, if you try to make it different, does it actually lean into the story they want to tell? And if it doesn't lean into the story they don't want to tell, do you get the payoff? This is essentially where I am confused. What essentially do they want to get from it?
They want to get sales, and they want you to be invested. I wouldn't be surprised if they haven't decided what way that main event goes yet.
I think they've already decided where the main event lies. I actually think they've already made their mind up.
Yes.
I mean, I personally would advocate for this just to see Eilidh punch a wall.
Well, no, because Brock Lesnar is a babyface. He'd have to show up. And when he's showing up and working with a master like Cody Rhodes, he produced some good stuff.
The third man, Seth Rollins. I think the third man is Seth Rollins.
You're talking about with The Rock and Cena?
Rock, Cena, Rollins, Heyman, Braun Breaker comes in as a future talent. And then that's it.
Don't want to see that.
It's called enjoyable.
You make a group. What do you do with the group? What happens with the group? What have AEW done with every single star that they put into a group?
It's not about you're just making
you make
the group.
The people matter less.
Wait a minute. Getting to the point, because this is where they don't matter. This is where they do make it matter. It's not about overfilling the group and then losing stale like the Bloodline and the Judgment Day, etc.
We've already overfilled a group if we get more than 2 people. It's Rock and Cena. That's got to be it.
That's not a group, though.
Exactly, because you don't need a group. Because
anyone will have someone in the group.
You just have Rock and Cena, and then everyone else.
They will have their eyes on something.
You don't know why Blackpool Combat Club fails? It's because it's completely sent Claudio Castagnoli. It's completely sunk Pac. Wheeler Yuta was shit anyway, so it didn't really sink him. But it got Danielson lost in the pissing shuffle for a year because it's a group.
True. I think,
and that's what you're going to do with Seth Rollins. You'll lose him in the shuffle.
He already needs a reshuffle anyway after Mania. He's going to. After Mania,
he can do it on his own.
With what? With what? What's he going to get after Mania reasonably? I don't think he's going to get much. Because he is exactly what you said he is, and he will always be that until it goes. Seth Rollins is just a song.
I did not say he was just a song. I said that the fans only care about the song. He's a good wrestler.
Which doesn't help him. This is what it doesn't help him.
It doesn't help him, but there are a lot of people in wrestling who they only care about the fucking song. Go to AEW and there's a full roster of them.
Songs, not essentially. But
people just caring about a song. Yeah, I would say there's quite a few on AEW.
But essentially, this is not what we're wanting. I think Heyman is going to help Seth win. I've been thinking about it for a while.
Then
honestly.
Why the fuck would Heyman be with The Rock?
Heyman will still have some sort of blind loyalty to the family because he can't help himself.
But then surely Roman won't allow that.
What's he going to do?
You want Heyman to be with The Rock, but you want Roman. Roman will just kill Heyman.
Heyman owes Punk a favor. But here's the thing. You can owe someone a favor, but you can still have another shady deal on the side. Wrap that. Plain. Simple.
No.
A favor won't happen for Punk. Punk can't get anything out of this.
So you just think he said it just to say it?
Oh, yeah.
He said it just to sound cool.
I actually don't think he's going to get much out of this unless he ends up with a title shot in Chicago.
He probably does then. I think it's a woman because any man would want Cena's title if he wins.
That's fine. That's the whole point. Cena's going to hold it down as much as he can. Cena will already know who he'll be.
So you want them to retell Evolution, but The Rock is like Ric Flair is now The Rock, and Triple H is now John Cena, and you want them to get Seth Rollins in to be Randy Orton? No.
This is why I've got this. Braun Breaker would be my Batista.
He doesn't need it.
Braun's already going to be world champion by next year's
Yeah, so he
WrestleMania
doesn't need it. Braun Breaker does not need to go into a group. He is doing just fine on his own.
I'm not saying he's not doing fine on his own. This is what you're missing from my side. I'm not saying he doesn't need to be in it because it's not going to get him anywhere. He's doing it because it keeps his option close to his chest. Braun Breaker is going to just use that as the extra leverage. That's if they put him. They're not going to do it, but I'm saying it's actually a way of doing something different.
If they make a main event Mafia, watch it get absolutely fucking trashed by the fans.
Oh, that'll never happen again anyway. That group's already had twice.
If you get this super group with Rock, Cena, and others, fans
even if it was just
and I mean for a shoot. Obviously, we don't want them to cheer them, but I mean for a shoot, fans will just stop watching.
I think you would actually get. I think you would get away with it honestly if you had Braun Breaker with them. It's someone handpicked. It's not a bad idea. Braun will be with Heyman eventually. Yeah, Braun is the next full-time Paul Heyman guy.
What's Uncle Howdy doing at Mania? Well, that's a good question.
Fuck all. Like the rest of his irrelevant group. That group is dead. I
think a supergroup dilutes Cena's heel. The Rock dilutes Cena's heel turn. He never had to be there, but
his heel turn hasn't even kicked off.
Signaled for John Cena to do it, so cool, whatever. But yeah, John Cena can just be heel John Cena. He's good enough. We don't need not everything needs a stable. We just dealt with 3 years of that.
So many of them are awful.
Does anyone care about the Wyatt 6 now? I don't think they ruined them after night 1. I just think they had a limit. Look at the wrestlers. Yeah, look at the wrestlers who are in it though. Were you honestly looking at that thinking that's going to go somewhere? No. I already
said when this faction was formed over running this, the faction would get nowhere because the main ingredient, no offense, is dead. Bray Wyatt. William Rotunda, like, he was the main focal point. Even my fucking shiny Gengar says so. Fucking, this faction means fuck all, because
Hold
Bray
that up
Wyatt...
again. You're gonna get policed on something here. Oh, you meant shiny just like the material. I was like, that's not a shiny Gengar. Shiny Gengar is shit, to be honest. Basically,
Right.
just looks like a normal Gengar.
Don't break my Gengar, you bitch. I'm only kidding.
The shiny Gengar just looks like a normal fucking Gengar.
Except when it's mega, because it's white. But in the
Yeah.
sense of it, though, the Wyatt 6, regardless, it means fuck all because Bray is dead. And that's not like ill the dead or anything like that. It's just a fact. This was his creative vision. They don't know what they're doing. Nobody behind the scenes knows how to book this. And they're never going to be successful. If you want it to be a tribute act, name every single one of them Wyatt. And just do it that way. Otherwise, you've got nothing. It's never going to get anywhere. It's not going to succeed. And quite frankly, Nikki Cross is now even more irrelevant than she already was, since she was a superhero. Bloody his brother, well, Uncle Howdy, he should have came back as Bo Dallas anyway and started trying to make people believe in him again. Joe Gacy is never going to be a star. He's not that good.
None of them are.
Samuel Shaw, as he was in TNA or whatever he was on the main roster of WWE, can't remember his fucking name. He's crap. What's his face that used Eric Rowan? He's amounted to nothing, which is a shame.
Let me just throw something at you.
None of them make sense. None of them understand what it means to be a Wyatt, and none of them actually understand his creative vision. It's pointless. Scrap
No, but I get it. But so let's look at another stable that's always going to go nowhere.
Go on.
The LWO.
Look
at the names who have been in the heel LWO. I mean, the face LWO has literally been Rey Mysterio and people he likes. The heel LWO have had fucking nothing. The only time that the heel LWO has won is with Dominic Mysterio, who's not fucking in it.
It's almost as if that's what we both creatively want.
But this is what I'm saying. If you book stables and you just book factions and you just throw people together, we see from a mile away that these people are not good enough to do anything.
I agree. But this is the whole point of the tangible.
That was the Wyatt 6. That was it.
Yeah.
You were never looking at that group thinking any of them were main event or even upper mid card. They just weren't. And honestly,
God no.
Truthfully, if you've got low expectations, you're not disappointed. The Wyatt 6 have existed. That's it. But they've existed the same way that Andrade currently exists.
He has been so irrelevant.
Dunn has existed. Ludwig Kaiser has existed. For the most part, Chad Gable, Dragon Lee. These people that just exist. They're just there, you know?
Every single person you've named is completely irrelevant in the plethora of pro wrestling. That's exactly. The sad reality.
But they're still employed. They appear. They job. They sometimes win. They mostly lose. And they fill a roster. They're not. No one's biggest complaint with WWE is the booking of Samuel Shaw.
Nobody even pays attention to it. But
I don't even think Samuel Shaw's biggest complaint with WWE would be his own booking. I think he knows his level.
I think he misses Christy Hemme.
So Liv Morgan, we've been asked to quickly talk about. I like Liv Morgan. I think she's doing some of the best stuff for her career.
I'll give her credit. She knows how to put on a facial expression, but that's my praise of Liv Morgan.
I think the stuff with her and Dom was brilliant.
I think the fact that they're still in a group really hinders her. It hinders her and him. They need to get away from Balor because he's pointless, and they need to get away from Raquel Rodriguez because what does she actually offer? I don't think she's offering anything. at
Yeah,
all for
but
her. I
she's
think
on
they
cool.
have to get rid.
Liv's on cooldown at the moment.
Alberto really, nobody cares about Alberto though. I haven't cared in decades.
Well, I mean,
a long
they
time.
care when he does other stuff, but we're not talking about that. Anyone else think Triple H thinks it's 1995 he made Raquel the face? Yeah, he's literally Big Mama Cool.
Except she's just. This is going to sound horrible, but it's true. She hasn't been the same since she's got ill. Like, she's not actually doing anything. It's a shame because, see, when you look at her, I've always liked Raquel, but she's
NXT.
I don't think she even knows. See, ever since she started doing that stupid back thing, like, she's just been a laughing stock. And now she just looks like Chuck Palumbo light, and it's not working. Like it's
laughing stock. Laughing stock, you say?
In consequence, yes. And I think personally, even though I don't particularly care about Liv Morgan, I never bloody will. Plain and simple to anyone who likes her, I don't care. But I'll say this though. I would rather see Liv Morgan as a champion than Tiffany Stratton, because Jesus Christ, that is the worst title reign in WWE. Sorry, folks.
Seems a bit harsh, but going back to laughing stock, I really do think you hit the nail on the head. In fact, I think you got many nails. I think you stuck them to a bat, and I think you hit it right on the head. Go on then. AEW. We're crossing the wrestling divide. We're talking
I don't care who wins, Billy.
Well, it's the Mud Show. AEW. What more is there to fucking say about this fucking company now?
Interesting. Okay, I'm gonna come back to that.
I really hope it's sarcasm. Right. I mean, fuck this fucking company.
You bringing an irrelevant name into my channel?
Bishop's not relevant.
He is. He can't even book.
But neither can Tony Khan. We're talking about him.
Wow. Okay, he said, "Oh yes." I'm gonna sit back and look. This is gonna be interesting. I'm just gonna continue to drink my Pepsi Max.
Well, fuck. When did we last talk about AEW? We did a preview, right?
Yeah.
So we haven't discussed the Mud Show since before their pay-per-view.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So before we go into the match itself, before we go into Cope versus Mox, let's look at the first Cope versus Mox at Revolution.
Feel free to, because I didn't like that either, so it's all right.
So Christian comes out. It was sarcasm. See, Paul, I know this. I'm picking up what you're putting down, Paul. So Christian fucking interferes because he's had this thing for a year,
Which
and
is
they
going to
don't know
happen.
what they're doing with it. And when I saw that he interfered, you know the first name that popped into my head? Austin Theory.
Interesting.
Because this is a guy where they have given a Big Show theme song. I hate, but it's the Mud Show, not the Big Show.
Worst big man I've ever since Giant Gonzalez, but yeah.
I think Great Khali exists.
I don't account him as a human being.
That seems a bit mean. Anyway, but
he's just an android walking about with his slow technology.
We want Money in the Bank, and we were wondering what the heck's going on here.
Agreed.
And he just kind of kept it, and then lost his shot. Yeah, Christian came down, and I was already like, well, Christian Cage is not going to be the world champion. So then your intrigue changed to, okay, is Cope going to pin Christian? Or is Mox going to beat Christian? And all of a sudden it became Christian's only here to eat the fall. He's only here to lose. That's all he's here to do. And that's all he did. And Moxley needs to fucking cut out this bulldog choke like he's some kind of MMA badass, because he puts it in for about 9 seconds and the guy passes out. And this is a guy who there is footage of him losing amateur tournaments of like I think it's jiu-jitsu.
That's true.
There are videos of him losing.
Mox has not beaten Swerve.
We're gonna. So Moxley chokes out Christian in another shit finish. Which, by the way, if you go through this Moxley run, it has been the run of shit finishes. And
I agree. It hasn't particularly delivered. And this is where I will critique them.
This choke again, like he's not hitting anything with a snap or with a oh my god. No, he's just.
I don't understand the bulldog choke. I mean, I understood. The only time I've ever thought the bulldog choke actually made sense, in my opinion, the only time that I think it was actually relevant is when, correct me if I'm wrong, but during his very first run as champion, he beat Eddie Kingston with the bulldog choke, didn't he?
He did, and that was shit too.
It was, but I think that at least made sense, because obviously these two generally know each other like long time. They do have a connection to each other, and it's somebody that you personally know. If you are going to actually effectively beat somebody you've got a strong connection for, and nothing's going to work, of course you're going to try and use alternative means, i.e. choke them out or force them to submit or anything like that. Ever since then, I haven't particularly appreciated the bulldog choke.
I think if he wants a submission finisher, surely the label lock's right there for him, because he retired Danielson.
That or even a Texas Cloverleaf.
Well, no, but I mean, like the label lock at least has like significance to the fact that he retired Danielson, and we know John Moxley's not a fucking submissions wrestler anyway. So whatever submission he uses, it's bullshit anyway. We know he can't. He's not a technical guy.
Yeah, so he's a brawler.
Whether he's using the label lock or the bulldog choke's irrelevant. But the thing is, he'd at least get like heat for the label lock. He doesn't even.
It's because nobody wants to see it in MMA. Plain and simple, it doesn't work.
I think MMA works when you've got like the excitement of the fight pit in WWE and stuff. Might be the most. I mean, you know,
that main event
AEW's had a good handful of those, to be fair. But anyway, yeah. So we get that, and then Tony Khan announces, "All right, well, you know what? We're gonna run it back. We're gonna run it back, Carmella style, people. We're just gonna do it on the show." Let's go. We're just going to do it again on the show. So we do it again on the show, and it's worse. It's John Moxley, the AEW Gunther. You'll have to ask Reece. Jury's still up. But Moxley needs to call up CM Punk for MMA pointers. Absolutely.
The same CM Punk that also struggled. See, I actually would watch them in an MMA cage because both of them are so fragile. Both of them would break every bone in their body, and then I would sit there with popcorn.
It'd be interesting to see. But in any case, okay, so we're going to do the match again. And okay,
neither delivered. Neither delivered regardless.
How do we make it better? How's about we stick nails in him? They have run out of ideas. They have run out of shit to do. And it's just how many ways can we impale the human body? It's Jackass in a ring. If that was a fucking bit on Jackass, like I'm Johnny Knoxville and this is the bat bump onto a nail bat, like it just would. It belongs on. Someone put the Jackass theme music behind it, and it'll fit. It'll fit. Like it's just and then after the spot.
True.
This is the other thing. And I left this comment somewhere.
I have a different type of problem with it. Like, there's a different problem that nobody's mentioned on this, and this is why mine's is going to be totally different.
AEW thought this was their WrestleMania 40. let me get this completely fucking clear here. They thought this was their WrestleMania 40. They think they've built all these characters up to the point where we give a teetotal fuck about them. And we don't. No one cares. Basically, no one cares about Moxley. The only reason people care about Cope is because he used to be Edge. And he's lost his edge. And literally lost his edge.
Mm-hmm.
No one gives a shit about Castagnoli because he's been relegated to this group. And I never liked Castagnoli, but he's literally irrelevant now. He is a whipping boy for anyone who's feuding with Moxley.
No, I do agree with that.
Not been that good and doesn't have the legacy to carry it on. He's shit. He's got no charisma and he can barely fucking do anything. And he's basically Orange Cassidy without putting his hands in his fucking pockets.
That's true.
Which means I actually have more respect for Wheeler Yuta, but still.
That's true.
And then on Cope's side, and Pac, who we've spoken about before, show up, disappear, show up, disappear, show up, disappear, no consistent booking, no nothing. And he's probably the best wrestler of the lot of what they have left.
Oh, by a mile.
By
yeah.
But he doesn't matter. That doesn't matter. And then at the same time, Marina Shafir, who's not actually done anything of her own fucking right, and we were never told why she's with Moxley. This was never... And
that is completely incorrect. Totally different landscape.
I can see where that's coming from. I'll get there. Let me
I don't
finish the WrestleMania 40 thing first. So you get all this interference, and every time that a heel shows up, there's a face to counter them. I mean, first, that wasn't even technically true because two guys ran off three. Anyway, we moved past that because Cope's only ever had FTR, whereas Death Riders have had more than just...
Yeah, that's true.
They always had the numbers advantage, which is why you then had, like, just a weird babyface show up.
Yeah.
Like, someone who just doesn't belong on this level would go, but I like Cope, and they'd help, and... Good on you, sport. Go help yourself to a lollipop. And then you've got the patriarchy, who their whole thing has been, we have this contract.
That's true.
Now they don't have the contract. So, in return, they do even more interference. They muddy the water even more. We now have three parties because they wanted a WrestleMania 40. They wanted a... What's happening? You got the baby faces, you got the heels, you got these third ones, and it was a mess. It was a complete mess. And you've got a guy like Nick Wayne deciding world title matches.
I still don't, in the sense that I get what you're saying, but I don't think they were looking for WrestleMania 40. I don't actually think
WrestleMania 39 then, because the heels won.
No, it's not even a WrestleMania. I get the point you're trying to make, but I don't even think they're trying to get to that sort of thing.
This whole John Moxley run is the parody of Roman Reigns.
Oh, that part I agree on. That. There's some elements to it, I do agree. The problem is, though, is just like that run its course very quickly, this has also run its course. FTR, FTR are going to turn heel. They're going to turn the heel on Cope. He can cope on that, but hey ho. But in terms of like this being like a Taker Mankind thing, not essential because one will actually stand the rest of the time. This
is what they're doing. Is what they're doing. Are they going to have the patriarchy split up so that we get Edge and Christian versus FTR? Is that?
It wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me.
That's all I think they could do at this point.
Yeah. The thing is, though, is that's not even what I want. I actually think Christian's got what he needs right there with him. I would actually prefer Christian just sticking with Kip Sapien. That actually feels good. Like, chemistry-wise, they work well together. I don't like the appeal I don't like the appeal of Nick Wayne anyway. I've said that for quite a long time. I don't like his appeal. His mother just happens to have a few things going for her, but she's got no charisma anyway. I don't particularly think that's already ran its course. I would rather just Christian just stick with Kip Sabian. Or Christian just does things on his own. I don't actually think they know what they're doing with him in that element. I don't. I've said it for quite a while.
No. I think you could just stop it there. I don't think they know what they're doing. You know something? You know something? Because
But it's not
there was
all of
another
them.
match on Revolution, wasn't there? There was another one that I've got to drag through the fucking coals.
Which one?
Kicking and screaming. Hands taped with glass covering. What a fucking mess this company.
Disagree.
What an absolute mess this company is. You've got a women's world title match. Women's world title matches in one company showcase the absolute best of women's wrestling. And women's championship matches. No, I actually don't know who Nikki Wire is. This is Poke makeup. Every day I just do makeup based off a different random Pokemon. I've been told it looks a bit like David Bowie at times as well. But no, I just do weird things with makeup based off Pokemon. But that's with the question. And maybe I'll have to check.
I'll gladly let you slate the two Copeland matches, but the one with Tony Storm, no.
This did not belong. Once again, this did not belong in wrestling. So you have one company. You have one company showcasing the absolute best. I will do. Thanks, Paul. You have one company that's showcasing the absolute best of women's wrestling, and you've got the other company that is doing this fucking shit. Now, I was
actually done well.
I was already past it with Tony Storm sticking a fucking dinner tray in her arse and winning a belt. But okay, sure, you've done that. Mm-hmm. Then you pass the torch to Mariah May. And then what happened when you passed the torch to Mariah May? Oh, what? Mariah May wasn't fucking good enough, so you got to get it back onto Tony? Thought so. You never should have had Mariah May win the belt, because she was never good enough to win the belt. She hasn't been good enough to win the belt. She hasn't gotten any better since the moment she was introduced in terms of AEW. She hasn't done anything. She slapped a mum, and it was her own mum. She's a fucking idiot. So anyway, we go into this. We go to the second one, and this was just did not fucking belong anywhere near a wrestling ring. Again, jackass. You know, this is Wee Man, and this is glass boxing, and you fucking tape your hands and you dip them in the glass, and you punch each other in the face, and you work it, but you can't work it because there's glass on your fucking hand. And it was a joke, plain and simple. And it's another one of these matches in AEW where they've seen something cool and decided to do it, rather than this benefits the story. They've just seen something cool or thought of something they thought would be cool, and they've done it. And it wasn't cool. And you know how you really, really know that it wasn't cool? Because a day, 2 days, 3 days later, everyone was talking about how this was one of the greatest women's matches ever. We are a couple weeks after it now. Fucking crickets. And that's the problem, Paul. It's because they always have to jump this fucking shark. I know I'm a pro, but the
reality is, though, and this is where I disagree. This is where I disagree in the sense of it. The reality of it being is you're actually building between the two that genuinely hate each other, whereas one actually realized maybe they don't hate them as much as the other, and that's what the match actually showed. The confliction between one of the other actually revealed itself quite early on. The entire build up to the match was Mariah May is coming back for the title that was taken over by Toni Storm. in Australia, which is a reality of it. I've already told you before, and this is why I don't give a fuck about cage match. It's the eye test that matters, not cage match, because cage match is filled with dorks, plain and simple. And that's the reality. No, dorks.
Sickos. It's the sickos that care about cage match.
The reality being, though, is they've actually built something essentially on this one where it ties in. This wasn't a conventional wrestling match. It wasn't listed as a wrestling match. This is what I've said long beforehand. It's a no holds barred, no ropes, like essentially falls count anywhere. When you actually look at it, it was any sense of it of these two hate each other is now culminating the whole thing once and for all. Will it ever be eclipsed? No.
So they're going to go as far as we let everyone else in every other match go. Bearing in mind, this is the same company where a guy literally brought a fucking needle of stuff into the ring.
Yeah, I've already said that was unnecessary.
No, but that's the thing. Like, glass knuckle boxing is not more extreme than drugging somebody, and it's not more extreme than its asphyxiation with a plastic bag. It's not more extreme than crushing a cinder block against a man's chest. But they've done all of that in the past 3 fucking years. It's not as
reality talking.
Burning a man's house down.
Mm-hmm.
They've done all of it because they have nothing set up long term. It's what's the next stupid thing we can do.
No, it ain't.
And week on week, they do something that's fucking laughable. It's either shit in terms of its production. There's the ring explosion, you're right, Paul. But they either do something that's laughably shit in production, makes no sense in booking, or is unnecessarily gruesome. And WWE does one of these maybe 6 months apart, where they go, not sure we needed to see that, or that doesn't really make sense. But for WWE, it's 1 every 6 months to a year. With AEW, it's 6 every month. There's something.
Whether it's the reality is, and this is the
making
problem,
himself bleed on the camera, or MJF threatening to set Hangman on fire. By the way, still my favourite feud of all time. It's gloriously shit. Or if it's glass knuckle boxing, or needles in cage matches, or fucking broken glass everywhere, or Sting going through a glass fucking table and not selling it, or barbed wire, this, that, and everything everywhere all at once. Fuck me, it's exhausting.
I think the problem is, this is the reality of it, is people are either so against it or so for it. And the reality of it is, it's a separation of what the industry is, past, present, and what it's going to be. It doesn't actually matter. And this is what people forget. And it's
going to matter when AEW run out of shit to do.
It has happened in the past, it's happened in the present, it's going to continue to happen in the future, no matter where it is. And this is the reality that it's going to continue. It doesn't matter. The only thing that does matter is actually maintaining what it is you actually want to be. And this is what I've said for, doesn't matter the organization.
AEW haven't maintained that because they wanted to be an alternative to WWE, and they now just tell the same. They try to do the same things as WWE, but they don't have the talent or the know-how or the production know-how or anything of the like to do it like WWE do. And they marketed this fucking company as an alternative. And it is alternative in the fact that it is low budget WWE. Just watch any fucking segment or any fucking match. Imagine it in WWE.
He should have left a long time ago because he hasn't got a bloody clue what he's doing now.
Okay, I don't think MJF goes to WWE now.
There's nothing for him.
I think they've seen it. I think he's ruined himself.
I haven't cared about him quite a while.
And if he goes now, it'll be on Cody's favour.
He won't even amount to anything. This is the funny thing.
I said it once. In the door. He might.
I said it months ago. It doesn't matter if he went to WWE. It makes no difference. What's he going to do?
No, if he went when he could have, they would have got behind him. if the bidding war of 2024 had gone the way that WWE had actually got him, they would have been right behind him. And there's 2 words to prove that, because we don't fucking like her, but they clearly have something in mind for Jade Cargill.
Yeah, it's called torture.
Yeah, but they clearly have something in mind for Jade Cargill. And I don't like that, and you don't like that.
I choose to try and avoid it. I physically can't.
But if MJF had gone, that would have been huge for WWE at the time. And they would have got right behind it. And you probably would have got 6 months to a year of MJF in NXT. And then he would have been certainly an upper mid-card heel. Which
I
would
just
have
think
been...
the reality. I think the reality of MJF is MJF tries to. What's the fucking phrase? MJF for so many years has tried to. He's tried to test the waters on so many different angles, and this is not a wrestling angle. I mean an actual angle of himself as an individual and a talent. He's tried to test the waters for so long that it doesn't actually seem like. It's almost as if, ironically, the wrestling business, even though it's not going anywhere, it's almost as if the wrestling business is already past him. That's what MJF is. That's why I don't think he would have worked in WWE anyway. It's not the sense of it's AEW bias or a WWE bias. It's just I actually don't think he would have worked in WWE.
Outside of his matches, MJF's become a stand-up comic with one joke. And it's sad because he is capable of so much more.
I think he had the potential a long time ago. Like he had it a long time ago.
Yeah,
but
if he just sat and thought and went to Tony and I know I've got faith in Tony Khan here of all people to do anything, not. But if he went, I've got a year to 2 years of this character that I'm going to essentially revive. I'm going to go back to when I was good.
Yeah.
In return, you're going to stop booking me in shit. You're going to stop booking me with a broken Adam Cole. And you're going to stop booking me with badass cowboy Hangman Page.
Dynasty was a good stable.
Is that the Hammerstone?
Yeah. Right. That's the Hammerstone one, yeah. Which, to be fair, would work for him. I think if I said this not too long ago, actually, I think if Hammerstone, because obviously, again, I'll be shitting on them very soon. Hammerstone is an absolute TNA failure that they failed him. But if he went there, it would seem like, I think the only reason if he went to, I don't know where he's going to end up. If he ends up in NXT or he ends up in AEW. If he goes to AEW, it's not in the sense of the money. Anywhere's money these days. It doesn't make a difference.
That's what Josh Alexander's gone for.
He's got his own agent, though. That's the difference. We don't even know where he's going. To be fair, he's earned the money anyway. I don't care where he goes. He's earned it. Having to put up with fucking morons like...
That's all Tony Khan can offer. He can only offer money. He can't offer better booking. He can't offer better opportunities. He can't offer more opportunities.
I think he can offer the opportunity... In the sense of he can offer the opportunity in the sense of, do you want to go and work elsewhere across the globe whilst under contract? Because he's done that with other talents.
You now get to do, if you're a developmental talent, you now get to do that in WWE.
Mm-hmm.
And clearly, if you're not needed in WWE...
Up from purple. God almighty. I'll rate that. That's the best comment of the night. I'd say you play up front for Man United, but you're not really going to get anywhere these days.
But that's the thing. He can only offer to pay more. He can't offer anything else. And clearly WWE's not fussed now if their talent goes and works in other shows. We're literally talking about Pete Dunne going back to work the Indies. I imagine other people can just go and do it as well if they're not needed. Okay, Cody Rhodes can't turn around and say, I want to work Buttfucks McGee's garden wrestling party in front of 4 people. 3 of them are siblings and all of them are married. We're not going to do... not going to do that. But if Pete Dunne wants to go back to Ireland and work some indies... Agreed, and he'll keep you... Exactly. He will keep you hostage and not use you. Or, even worse, he'll let you just not work. Like, he just lets it... We said this last time we were talking about him, but he just lets his talent... I don't want to do that. Oh, okay. I mean, good. It's not like I signed you to a contract and expect some kind of work out of you, no.
But we've seen this before. There's also the rebuttal on certain people that have been offered things to do and they've turned it down. Like, they've just went, no, I'm not doing it.
Well, then why don't you say, do it or fuck off?
The same moron is now in NXT doing fuck all, so there's your answer.
He's not doing fuck all.
What has Ricky... Sorry, I was about to say Ricky Starks. What has Ricky Saints done? Nothing. Nothing.
He only just fucking got there.
And he's done fuck all anyway. He will never amount to anything. He was offered main event, but he was offered a main event run, and he went, I'm not doing that. So and essentially fucked himself up. He deserves it. I don't care where you are. If you turn shit down, then get to
the reason he turned that down is because he doesn't like the fucking Bucks. And can you blame him?
It was nothing to do with the Bucks over Ricky. To be fair,
the Bucks didn't like CM Punk, and you look at the names that are leaving with or after CM Punk, they all seem to like CM Punk.
And that's the whole thing about the industry.
I'll allow you to join it up. I'll allow you to join it up. I think CM Punk, the way that they've handled CM Punk has fucking killed their roster.
I think some elements did go wrong, and I stand by that. He's done fuck all. Ricky Starks will never amount to anything.
I think that's harsh. I think you got to give a guy that's just got their time, especially because he's not even been able to work for the last however long because Tony just didn't use him.
Technically, he has been working, but he has been working. He has been working.
Yeah, he showed up in NXT and he's there now, and we've just got to be a little bit patient. He literally... Was it not after the Rumble, or was it before?
Just after.
It was just after the Rumble, Reece. It's been less than 2 months.
He's still not going to amount to anything.
He will be... I mean, I've not really been watching, but he'll get run. He'll get run in NXT.
They've also done nothing with Ethan Page since he's lost the title, which is a shame.
But he won the title anyway, so that's his thing.
Won it, dropped it, and now he's just there, which is a shame because he's quality.
What did Mariah May do? What did Mariah May do?
Same circumstance.
There you go.
Same circumstance. I can be unbiased in this situation.
What Samoa Joe do?
Samoa Joe, he won the title. After he put over a talent that was actually over, and he went and done a film. He's been back since. He's unfortunately stuck with Hook. I would rather shoot myself.
He won the belt, dropped it, did nothing. This happens to a lot of people.
It's the industry for you.
Roman Reigns went home for a while. He goes home all
he goes home all the time.
Dropped the belt and he did nothing.
Title or no title, he just goes home.
Drew McIntyre dropped the belt, did nothing.
He's still doing nothing. Actually, that's what I wanted to ask you. What do you think about his program with Damian Priest?
He doesn't want to do it. I'm not sure Priest wants to do it. I don't think the fans want to see it, and I think both of them deserve better.
Do you think they're being forced to do it?
No.
Yeah. Do you think it's not in the sense of, we're just booking? Do you actually feel now it's being forced because Drew consistently brings up the the Royal Rumble, and he's like the guy when it comes to social media is funny. I will give him that. When it comes to social media, Drew McIntyre tweets are funny to read, but he cannot stop shutting up about what happened at the Royal Rumble. And it's almost like it's not even like we're past Chamber. You know what I mean? Like we're past that now. We're already past that he got eliminated in the Chamber match. First man eliminated, that was funny. But it's always the Royal Rumble he keeps bringing up. And I'm actually starting to think, is there something else that happened besides him getting eliminated? Because he mentioned, obviously, that people had to get their stuff in.
Yeah, but that was LA Knight.
Yeah, but what did Damian Priest get out of it? Like, this is what I don't get.
Are they building to another triple threat?
I don't know. WrestleMania should be just...
McIntyre and Knight?
I don't know. WrestleMania 41 should just be renamed to WrestleMania Multi-Men. Oh, wait, hold on. There's women involved. Multi-gender.
US title.
I think they're going to do it. Like, it wouldn't surprise me if they do that as well.
Just do Hayes, Andrade.
Why Hayes? What's he done to deserve it?
Well, he'll be in it.
I know, but what's he done to deserve it?
What's Andrade done? Other than beat Hayes?
Get told that he needs... What was that thing that he said? Like, I don't know, like get him chicken nuggets or something. I can't remember what Carmelo said, but it was quite funny.
No idea. But yeah, it'll be...
The mid-card scene on SmackDown is worse than Raw. Raw seems settled.
Drew, Priest, Knight, and Nakamura's gone home again. So,
this is something I will praise WWE over. The Raw mid-card scene looks far more settled than SmackDown. Like, it looks settled. Like, you can identify who's actually in that division on SmackDown.
Yeah, who's even the sixth?
Jim Uso.
Yeah, I guess, yeah.
Because apparently he's going to win the US title Mania, even though he's not even involved.
Not yet.
How he gets involved is the question. I think they have to do
It's a championship scramble.
I think they have to do multi anyway because they've not actually done enough for the US title. The US title is basically become a waste.
Seemingly can't build a feud.
That's the problem with him.
He hasn't really had any.
You know what's funny? There's actually a feud right there for him that actually could work if they just allowed it. And they wasted it on SmackDown. Actually, no, there's potential. I actually want to see LA Knight versus either Jacob Fatu or LA Knight versus Braun. Actually, that would be my Mania triple threat. I would have Jacob, Braun, and LA Knight. I know you don't like him because of the no-selling, but you can't deny when he actually is working, he works really well. And he's a good promo. He's far more compelling than Solo, who has nothing.
And if he's sold, I'd be a big fan.
Even this is the worst thing as well. They've had Hikuleo for a year, and they went, "We don't know what we're doing with him."
Of course, they don't know what they're doing with him.
He's somebody I would put right in.
They should have signed him.
They were right to sign him. They were stupid to sign Tamatonga or Ratatouille as I call him.
He's only been doing Wrestle Kingdom preliminaries and getting beat like a bitch in G1s.
I think as a big guy, he actually would work for them though, because they do well with bigger talents.
They don't need another one. They just don't. Look at the size on that roster already. You don't need it.
I don't think the talent is essentially getting over. I'll tell you another thing as well. This is another question actually. What division to you is better? World Tag Team or Tag Team? Raw or SmackDown? Because right now I can't tell the difference. I think there's only one good tag team and it's the Street Profits. I'm actually a little bit more convinced by them since they've turned things around. I like Montez Ford. I don't like Dawkins. I think he's boring as fuck.
No.
The machine guns have fallen off. They've fallen off. DIY have fallen off.
Yeah.
Pretty bummer shit.
For instance, yeah, to be well. I mean, he's been just sort of like part-timer.
They gave up on Nakamura a long time ago. It's a shame because Nakamura's a good worker. They gave up on him a long time ago.
The best.
Yeah, I slandered him for a reason because he was just doing the same thing. There was no edge. Like, we have to use that word in the sense of it. There was no edge to Montez.
There was no
I actually like it.
There was
No,
no
that's
coach
different.
to him.
No, that's different. There was no edge in terms of his personality. The guy was boring for a long time. He's very athletic. I've always appreciated the athleticism of Montez Ford. But in terms of his actual matches for some time, they were absolute dog shit rubbish. And they were. But I tweeted it quite recently. The way that they've gone about the profits for quite a while, that's who you should be building your division behind if that's what you want.
See,
But
they should just unite the divisions.
I don't think they've got the capability to do that. But mind you, they should, because what is a brand split?
I think they do and they should, because I think then you've at least got.
Nah.
But to be fair, like tag wrestling in general right now
Isn't
pretty
good.
shit. Like,
I think it says a lot. Essentially, I'll answer them shortly. I will answer that. I think the problem right now with tag team wrestling is this actually ties down to a few people, but it also essentially is an issue. When you watch tag team wrestling these days, it's so predictable for certain teams that the minute the bell rings, you already know what's going to happen. Whereas you don't get the excitement from other teams because they have to work towards it. That's why I actually like what the Profits have done.
The one team that
Two
in the
teams.
past year has been doing the exact thing that you just said no team's been doing. This whole, they're giving the other team they're making it look like they're going to lose the belts and then they don't. It's Fraxium. Fraxium have been the greatest tag team in the world for the past year.
I've only watched them have 2 matches in the space of a year, and that was recently. I've only seen them in 2 matches: the Hardys and the Rascals. But I did like what I've seen. I don't find anything I don't find them entertaining at all. I actually despise them. They are on my level of cringe.
Yeah,
right at the very top with
with
male models pish.
I think if you just split it and had one, Fraxium's a great tag team for WWE in the world. Yeah. I think Fraxium are the best. Love them.
I think they're good, but I don't think they're the best tag team. But I do like what I've seen from them. I won't dispute that. I like what I've seen, but they're not the best tag team for me. But they are exciting. I think the problem is what are we getting?
Like, you don't need tag belts on each draw. Just have one set of tag titles and just
get rid of the NXT tag team titles as well.
No, I think the NXT tag titles need to exist because you need to develop.
I don't think I'm gonna say this controversially. I don't think there is a best tag team right now.
NXT.
No, none.
NXT.
None. There isn't. There's good tag teams. Like there are good tag teams.
Or DIY.
But they're finished. There's good tag teams, but they're not. No. We've already seen that Johnny Gargano cannot keep up with his own tag team partner. That is a reality itself. I think the reality is there is no great tag teams. There's just good tag teams. There's no one raising the bar. And that is why tag team wrestling isn't good.
That's what we do. Claudio's deal expires and we get the bar. The bar is back, baby. Let's do it.
To be fair, this is what I do. I just remind people of the past. But there isn't anything enjoyable about tag team wrestling right now. And I say that even though there's a lot of tag teams I actually like. Across all companies, there's a lot of tag teams I like. But I'm not saying any one of them is the best. because there isn't a definitive best tag team right now. Because tag team wrestling has fallen off a cliff. And getting that back is going to take a long time. It will take a long time to recover tag team wrestling. And I blame every company for this. On a general grand scale, I blame them for this. And I say it because it used to be a strength of TNA. TNA's strengths used to be smaller athletic guys with women that are booked properly and tag team wrestling. WWE abandoned tag team wrestling for many years. You can't argue that. And AEW had good tag teams several years ago. At the moment, they only have one or two, but they're not great. And that essentially is my problem. There's no great tag teams. It's just good tag teams.
So you're saying like no company's doing tag team wrestling right. So before I go,
not doing tag team wrestling right. Just tag team wrestling just doesn't feel like tag team wrestling to me right now. It doesn't feel like when I'm watching a tag match right now, it doesn't excite me.
No, but that's because there's no teams to excite you. But yeah, Keen's right. So the thing is that
it's not really generational, but I will say like what he's doing right now is fine, but it's not generational.
Because it's before I go, and I want to get this sort of nailed down here. You talk about no companies doing tag team wrestling right.
No.
So I'm gonna ask you this. See if we can arrive at an answer.
Go on.
What are AEW doing right?
What are AEW doing right?
Mm-hmm.
I think for one, what they are doing, I like the utilization of Lashley and Shelton together. I think that's actually working well with MVP. It's always worked well, those three. I don't know why it didn't work for the latter in WWE. It's actually a criticism that I have. Because when you look at it, in a sense, they are two legitimate guys together. They should be destroying people. I like, right now, the utilization of Megan Bayne. I think the way she's come across herself is strong. I don't think there's many on that division that can keep up with her. But that just shows the reality that she's actually working to improve herself. And I think that's important. I don't think many are. I like the way they've utilized some forgotten talent that maybe hasn't essentially come across well. I mean, I know Matthew's going to say the pay-per-view scene, fair enough, but it depends on what you want. I don't think they necessarily they have moments on pay-per-views that generally that shouldn't be there, but most of their pay-per-views are generally good. I will say that.
They're too
most
long.
of them.
Too much. Every match wants to steal the show.
That's not a bad thing.
Slogs.
That's not a bad thing though.
No,
I actually think that's a praise.
Ends when it needs to. They've got to do 5 finishes every match and then finish the match.
I also think
Fletcher cage match. The fact that thing gets praised is fucking just ridiculous. Guys like
I quite enjoyed it until the end. Taking
shots to the skull from a screwdriver and he's all right. Like, piss off. Your screwdriver is one of them Fisher Price ones, then, isn't it?
And also, right now, genuinely, one thing I do like, because they've maintained him as their top babyface, I honestly really enjoy the work of Swerve Strickland. Consistently, I just like watching him. There's something about him that works for me.
But that storyline's been crap.
Yeah, they're doing that. And to be fair, giving Kenny Omega that title really worked well. I like the way they're just putting a championship on him and going for it. This needs to be his year. In the sense of it's building him back to the title where he will... I already expect him to unify the pointless title with the international title, and then he'll put someone over and he'll end the year as world champion. I think Kenny Omega will end the year as world champion. And rightly so. How they do it, we'll find out. But then you look in contrast, it's not about, oh, they did this right or they did that wrong. You can do so many things right, you're still going to get criticised for one little thing. And ironically, I'm going to use the same statement. I'll use the same statement for WWE. They can do so many things right, they're still going to get criticised over stupid little things that don't add up.
But what's the one thing AEW are doing wrong right now? You're talking about AEW.
The one thing that AEW are doing wrong right now, easy.
Wrong. AEW are doing like 5 or 6 things wrong right now.
For me right now, the one major thing they are doing wrong, and I won't divert from it, is 100% the world title scene. Oh yeah, I hate them too, Abel. Don't worry. Don't
They're
worry.
not even an indie company on steroids, Kane. It's they're not. This
To be
isn't
fair, they
wrestling.
have
This
built. They
is a
have
movie
done that.
company. This is a company that thinks they're making movies, and that's why we get stupid shit like we see in the cage match, or like we saw with Tony Storm versus Mariah May. This is a company that thinks they're making.
Those are
cinema, and
those are stories. Even if
they're
they're
making movies.
they are stories though.
in
They are
basement.
stories. They are stories.
Not,
Even if they are
they're
extreme,
not
they
stories.
are.
They're
They
not
are. Even
stories.
they are. They are.
Not very fucking good stories, then, are they?
Never said essentially they have to be or not. I'm saying they are stories. One of them is actually good. The other isn't.
What's this story then? What's the really good story they're telling right now, or they've just finished telling?
The one they've just finished. Well, definitely not the Death Riders. That's for sure.
Well, no, because that one's not fucking over yet.
It won't ever be over. But in terms of like an actual good story, genuinely good story that they actually are doing right now is Swerve's redemption to the world title.
It came out of nowhere. Why was it a number one contenders match?
Well, for one, they do need a contender anyway, but they knew they were going
why
back to
was
Swerve.
it a number one contenders match? And why was it all about getting stabbed with scissors?
It was nothing to do with Stan Scissors. That's just something he's added to himself.
Just hating everyone, even the dirt sheets, Glaze, Mariah, and Tony. It was a shit match. Rubbish. Doesn't belong in wrestling. They want to do that, they could go out in the fucking street and do it.
But what doesn't belong in wrestling? Because simply wrestling is a whole concept of a variety of things. It's always been like that.
That is supposed to be based off of an athletic contest. That yes, while we know
Not
it is predetermined, it is supposed to be under the guise of some kind of athletic contest, where in the end either someone's going to cheat to win or someone's going to prove that they're better. Not someone's going to take some stupid fucking bump or do some ridiculous chaotic stunt that we've never seen before, we've not seen in forever, and then win. Or in most cases, because bearing in mind, glass boxing was not the end of this match. They did more after glass boxing, the same way they did more after the nail bat. They just want to do things to do them. And it's just, as I say, it's how much can you do? How much can you get away with?
This is
What's
the problem.
The next stupid thing you can do when you're hurting yourself and others? That's not good. When you're hurting yourself or others, that's not good wrestling. Well, it's more when you're doing shit that legitimately hurts and acting like it doesn't. Wrestling evolves just like everything. And when it's not evolving, though, is it? Because if it was evolving, more people would be doing it that way. They're not. And more people would be watching it that way. And they're not. Fewer people than ever are watching Tony's fucking show because they're fed up of it. And he's not got any substance to it. So it's always, what's the next highest thing we can jump off, or the next sharpest thing we can go through?
This comment here is a bit of a contradiction. So when you're hurting yourself or others, that's not good wrestling. Well, funny that, because five of my all-time favorite matches involve someone getting hurt. But you know what's funny? It's actually good wrestling. It's just, it can happen. So essentially, here's another one. Right? Since you want to say, oh, all you watch is just, because I've seen your comments, the guy. So I'm going to come at you on this one. You say you only watch NXT and TNA. Perfect. So I'm going to use a TNA example on you right now, just to prove a point. So you say it's not good wrestling. The best wrestler that ever came from TNA is AJ Styles, and he nearly broke his neck in an Ultimate X match that he actually said is one of the best matches of his career.
So
because of the way he landed.
It's
the contradiction. It's the contradiction.
Things can go wrong. Things can go wrong. The problem is the violence in AEW is not out of things going wrong. It's things going right, and then they do things that should hurt and they don't sell them.
See, I think that did go wrong. See, I think that part of it did go wrong.
AEW's ratings haven't been consistent. Because if they were consistent, they'd still be up over 1 million. It's not consistent. The appetite for AEW is going down and down
Is it?
and down. And all that's going to be left is the people who are going to like it anyway. But then the more that you preach about how it's the best wrestling that's out there and how Mariah and Tony's the best match out there, you're only going to get sharper opposition on the other side. Because we're sick and tired of being told. We are sick and tired of being told that this fucking company, that, to quote Keane for a moment, is an indie on a billionaire's budget. All it does is find the next highest thing to jump off or the next sharpest thing to go through. And it's all about shock factor. It's all about doing something that gets people talking. It's been like that for years. Christian mentioned someone's dad was dead. That was shocking. MJF did this, that, or the other. That was shocking. Hangman burnt Swerve's house down and Swerve got revenge by getting drugged in the follow-up match.
Yes,
that was shocking. That's the shock that they want. They want people to talk about them, but they're not good enough to put something together that people talk about for the right reason. And the last time they put anything together that was worth giving a fuck about in the wrestling business as a whole was actually...
Take the two words out.
Yeah.
Remove the two words. Maybe say that a little bit differently, because I've got my own thing to that.
You really need to take off the... There's no... WWE do things wrong. WWE do things wrong. AEW do nothing right. They do nothing right. Every match, every single fucking match has 5 or 6 finishes in it. And they don't know when to stop.
To be fair, I've said that consistently about all promotions. They can't stop. And before you argue me, you know it's true.
WWE matches end when they should.
Do they?
Yeah. Yeah, I think if you look back at the Elimination Chamber, that ended when it should. Punk and Rollins ended when it should have because Roman came back.
You're telling me in a cage match 5 finishers is not a finish.
It's fine when it's CM Punk and Seth Rollins.
No.
They've built up the fact that they hate each other enough to just keep going and going and going.
So hang on.
When Osprey and Fletcher do it, it's screwdrivers to the fucking head, getting dropped on your fucking head and everything like that.
So they hate each other. They're going to the point of beating the shit out of each other with anything they want. But also, Punk and McIntyre did the exact same thing inside Hell in a Cell. They hate each other that much, they will do anything to stop each other. Just like that is the element of the whole thing.
Yeah, and the match ended when it should have. The match knew when to go home.
This also in its own
way.
way.
He didn't put the fucking beads in his mouth and McIntyre kicked out at 2.
They still did what they were going for. It's still the issue. Like that is fundamental issue where you're sitting, the hate's end over or whatever. Like plain and simple. The minute it becomes a finisher fest, doesn't matter what match it is. Listen carefully. Doesn't matter what match it is. The minute it becomes a finisher fest, I don't care.
Finisher fests are not as offensive as weapon fests, which is what AEW do.
A finisher fest is not exciting.
You've gone through that, and you get totally.
Like, a finisher fest isn't exciting, no matter who
get
it
up
is.
From that, but I'm just going to anyway. That's AEW.
It doesn't matter who it is. A finisher fest is not exciting. Like that isn't exciting.
Seth and Punk proved that.
That wasn't that. The minute they went over the top with all those finishers, all the over the top finishers. After that, it meant nothing. It meant nothing.
They hated each other enough to keep going, and they were wrestling moves, and they were big stars.
So, excluding the screwdriver for a second, Osprey and Fletcher hate each other. By the way, they hate each other. So they're doing the exact same thing. You can remove it in the same.
Can't exclude the screwdriver because the match should end at the screwdriver. Any spot that happened after the screwdriver is taken out of account because the match should have ended with the fucking screwdriver.
To be fair, I thought it was going to end with a Spanish fly. That's all I'm going to say. I thought that was the end right there. But no. But that's just, again, it doesn't matter who it is. And It's just the concept. It just goes over the top. It does nothing for it.
People weren't taking bumps all the time in TNA like that. Yep.
Yes, they were. They were.
Not 6 or 7 finishes a match, Reece. This has never been done before. This level.
Six or seven has become a 6 or 7 finishers has actually been a problem on the
No,
main
not
sale.
finishers. Finishes.
Well, finishes, yes.
Like, but then using the weapon that should finish the match.
I've not disagreed with you in the slightest, though. I didn't disagree on that. I thought either the screwdriver or the Spanish fly was the end. Because actually, in the sense of it, it would have been very effective. It actually would have been very effective. I think it does take away from it in the slightest. It doesn't take away the heat between the two in terms of the actual heat they have for each other, but it does take away from the sense of we didn't need to get to the styles clash. Again, many people did like that. That's fine. I don't care. People can like what they like, dislike what they do. That's the preference. I would have done it that way. That maps. The screwdriver would have been that for me. Again, if you're really going to comment about TNA spots against me, you've got no hope in hell.
But the thing is, once again, because you haven't disputed it, TNA did not have matches where 6 or 7. They didn't have many where 6
I
or
can
7.
name you 5 that didn't.
Okay, what I'm saying is 6 or 7 things didn't happen the same way that in WWE right now. 6 or 7 things that should finish a match don't happen, and then it continues. And I would shit on that too, because if you look at anything from COVID wrestling, I was shitting on that too. If you even look just back to the Royal Rumble, was it Royal Rumble, Kevin and Sammy? Or was it Chamber?
Yeah, that was the Royal Rumble. That was the Elimination Chamber.
Oh, it was Chamber. Kevin and Sammy. I shat on that too because you didn't need to do that much to get to the point that you were there.
It also didn't even. To be fair, that also flattered to deceive. Like I actually thought the reason why I thought that flattered to deceive is because you actually had the perfect. You had the perfect stipulation for the two people that makes sense.
And yet, if that was in an AEW ring? What does it get rated? That's the difference.
I think it's also this is also the thing, and this is where I'm going to come back here, just a slight difference.
Okay,
I think
I do need to head soon.
I know. I think this is why I'm going to come back in the slides when it comes to the whole rating thing. When people are rating a match in their own thing, they're rating it through their own tint.
Well, yeah, you rate everything through your own. Yeah.
But when even if I'm watching, if it's El Generico, as he would have probably been in AEW versus Kevin Steen, you're still doing it this way. I still don't think it would be as good. And the reason why I don't think it would be as good is because I don't think it actually feels like the heat between these two. Specifically, if you're just saying Zayn versus Owens, I don't think it's been as strong as, say, what was it 4 years ago they faced off at WrestleMania? Correct me if I'm wrong. I can't remember. They have had a WrestleMania match before, and didn't Kevin Owens not lose
against each other?
They had a singles match at WrestleMania, Zayn versus Owens, several years ago. I can't remember when. I'm going to double check when it was because they have had a match at WrestleMania. But that was when Sammy had started doing his everyone's against me gimmick, and Kevin Owens tried to butt heads between them. They did have a WrestleMania 37. There you go, WrestleMania 37. That's when Logan Paul showed up.
All right.
And then I felt physically sick.
But yeah, that
element of that was when they actually had heat between each other because his gimmick made sense. It hasn't been as strong since. And I don't think they actually tied it that really well. Because we already know what's going to happen. Kevin Owens is going to be standing there in front of a wall. Sami Zayn's going to be on his knees, and he's going to be just there. simple as. It's not going to get anywhere between them. I think they actually lost it. They shouldn't have went back to this.
When Mick Foley took a bump and it meant something. Even now, taking a bump can mean something. Look at what Randy Orton just did.
To be fair, Mick Foley, when he took a bump also, he nearly killed himself, which is the worst thing. And I'm not shitting on Mick Foley. There's one match that Mick Foley's had where he took a bump that really should never have happened, and I'm not talking about Hell in a Cell. It's the I Quit match.
I'll finish by answering that question. Please tell me anyone apart from me still can't stand TNA. He still sucks.
I love Abel for his consistency.
From a working standpoint, like from boo the heel, yeah, John Cena's making it very easy to be hated. He does suck. In terms of how he's going about it, absolutely masterful heel work. Love it. Anyway, I'm going to head just now. I have stayed a little bit beyond the time. But remember...
2 hours, 6 minutes is fine.
Yeah. But remember,
Bianca Belair's going to screw Rhea Ripley, and then you're going to get a triple threat regardless.
But remember, whether you watch wrestling or Mud Show, you're still welcome here. I'm going to leave just now. Enjoy the rest of your show. I imagine you've got to talk about TNA stuff now, so that's a lot of fun. Wish you luck with that. But yeah, next time, whether you want to discuss wrestling or whatever Tony Khan does, I'll be there. Catch you.
Wrestling is wrestling. Just depends on what you like. Just saying. Although, maybe not 99 ECW. Next Raw, Rhea Ripley. Bianca Belair's going to screw them both. She's going to turn heel, and thank fuck, because she's born as a babyface. No, because if he had done that in every pay-per-view, he wouldn't have been alive. He nearly electrocuted himself, and Rock stupidly overdone it. You're just clutching at straws. Anyway, TNA, go fuck yourself. Like, plain and simple, how can you get rid of somebody who actually understands your company? Carlos Silva, the president of TNA and president of Anthem, you are the biggest disgrace to that company, desecrating the company's legacy. And before anyone says partnership, no, this is really horribly fucked. Well and truly over. Well and truly. She won't. I don't think she'll go anywhere. I think she'll stay at home for a while. Oh yeah, there is no greater TNA fan than me. I don't care. There is no greater TNA fan than me, and I've literally just told them to go fuck themselves. Because there's no way, shape, or form that this is a good decision. Like, this is a horrible decision. This is somebody who, by the way, has invoked the rage. Carlos Silva has invoked the rage of online TNA fans that actually understand the product, not the TNA drones who are actually applauding this. And also the women's talent, the Knockouts talent. Because she was actually an advocate, whereas she was also booking the product for the Knockouts. And they fired her. They're about to become it pains me to say it, and it makes me ill. They're about to become nothing. Because why? Now, obviously there is people that, if you're praising this, I don't want to fucking hear it. I'm genuinely serious. Like, I've seen people online praising this decision. I'm like, do you understand TNA as a company? Like, you physically cannot understand TNA as a company if you praise them firing Gail Kim. And I'll tell you why. Very first knockout, she was the one that was begging for a division for 2 years before it happened. She's the reason some of the best talent came into that organization. She's one of the reasons that the company booked women properly in the first place, and nobody matched them for several years. And it actually gave women a purpose in wrestling for the first time in decades. No, not essentially. It's not about being shocked. When you look at who is in a position in the company, Gail Kim is the shock. Anyone else wouldn't be. She is the shock. Because you still need, regardless if you're in a partnership or not in a partnership, you still need people who actually understand your product to keep it going. Because let it be known, be a fact, assets are still important. She was a vital asset. And you have removed a great mind. There's nobody in anywhere else that matters. Like that's the element. You can't actually sustain. You know the worst thing as well is talent are now going to be like, why should we stay here? Just go and look at all the currently signed Knockouts talent on social media right now. They've all come out tweeting, what the fuck? What is this? Why this decision? Steph DeLander, Tasha Steeles, Jordan Grace, who's in NXT, she's done it. Awesome Kong, Velvet Sky, not signed to TNA, those two, and they're actually questioning this whole thing. If it had been anybody, even Masha Slamovich, your current champion, when you look at it right now, how the other three individuals, obviously, they are making changes behind the scenes. The other three consequently aren't as big, notable exits as Gail Kim. Like that's the worst thing. If it had been anybody else, I'd be like, yeah. This isn't an AEW discussion right now. But you know what's funny? Everything is new in a company. It doesn't matter where you are. Everything is new until it's run its course. Like, there will always be something new. This is a reality that you have to accept. There will always be something new. And this is the pain of making a giant mistake. They have made a huge mistake. And this is the part that I don't understand. Like, this is the part that I don't understand. You get rid of Christy Hemme last month. You got rid of Josh Matthews, who was a producer. Christy Hemme was a producer and a backstage liaison for the Knockouts talent as well. Gail Kim headed up the division. You're getting rid of people that actually understand your product, and you're replacing them with people that don't actually. They don't. I honestly don't know. I actually do not know. I don't think Anthem are still going to sell straight away, but the way it's looking, it wouldn't surprise me. But I think that would be a horrible call. They should still try to maintain their own independence as a company. I'm not saying that I don't want them to consistently be associated with WWE, but I want them to maintain the roots of what the company is. Gail Kim is a root of TNA. It feels like they're just sacrificing everything for the sake of like of the next show, and I'm like, that's not how it should be. That here's the thing: you can get on Spike with Gail Kim. Gail Kim was on them with Spike when they were actually worth it. I still don't think Anthem are going to sell. I still don't think they're going to sell, but I think they'll have little to offer anyway. But back to this, they're looking to get on Spike. Gail Kim would never have stopped them getting on Spike. Gail Kim still has the second highest rated segment on Spike TV for TNA. It was only bettered by one segment. So to say they're looking to get on Spike means nothing. Spike hasn't been relevant for years as well. Spike hasn't done anything remotely for anyone for years. I'll tell you why it was so bad. Vince Russo. They won't recover. Spike gave up on professional wrestling in 2014. Or 2014, 2015. Because of a moron called Dixie Carter. They stopped having anything to do with pro wrestling for 10 years. Why would Spike go back to that now? TNA don't need... Here's the thing. TNA doesn't need WWE to get a TV deal to do that. Anthem are a TV and sports network. If they wanted to put them on another network, they would have done it. They're not. They will probably get a deal at some point. Don't know where, but they will get a TV deal. Right now, TNA's best work is the AEW app. Is where they're actually doing really well subscription-wise to producing their product. The problem is, TNA right now shouldn't be trying to counter anybody. Because right now, TNA actually needs to cement what they want to be. They still have a decent roster, bar the big loss of Hammerstone, which is stupid. But the reality is, they've made some horrific mistakes. Yeah, they're making good business, but they've also made shocking mistakes. This is not a bump in the road. I disagree with you. This is not a bump in the road. This is actually, to use an American phrase, this is roadkill. This is roadkill. TNA are like, right now, with what they've done to Gail Kim, is like a squirrel running in front of the road and it gets smashed by a truck. Because they've actually made a big mistake, and the worst thing is, this is the worst thing I've ever had to say about any company, ever. This hurts me more than anything when it comes to pro wrestling. That I'm having to sit here and say this. I never wanted to say this. I hate the fact that they've done this. There is no positives behind this. They were already doing really well because of this. This is sabotage. And that's the worst thing. And I don't get how people can praise this. And you know what's even worse? This moron is going to be the new head of creative. Are you seriously off your head? His Ring of Honor creative was crap. I lived through Delirious's creative on Ring of Honor. It was rubbish. I don't like. Why would you do it? He's a shit creative. He doesn't know what he's doing. His booking is bad. Oh, hold on. What's this? It's even worse when you've got this. Genuinely, this would be torture. You've already got Tommy the clueless clown dreamer as the head of your head of like your talent relations and your creative as well, but Gail Kim was in that department as well. She did both. Yeah, he's the head of talent relations, but he's also one of the top creative writers as well. Ariel Schreiner, who's the executive producer, he was the head of the creative direction and all that, but he's left. Like, there's so many things wrong doing. Your chief revenue officer, your live event coordinator, like all these guys are going. I mean, to be fair, that's a good thing. At least Abyss is going to be in a TNA game. Sorry, a WWE game, but you're actually getting nothing out of this. TNA with Tommy Dreamer. No. See, I've got some mixed feelings on Scott D'Amore. Like, I have mixed feelings on him because he tried to take a whole lot more power in the worst way, but his creative vision works. I said it for a long time, like his creative vision would have been well in bigger arenas. They could have done the same arenas still with his vision. He was holding that part back. That was his own doing. But it's annoying because as someone who understands TNA, Scott D'Amore understands TNA properly. The minute he was out, Tommy Dreamer replaced him. Which he hasn't been all bad, but Tommy Dreamer isn't as good as Scott D'Amore. There's just so many things wrong that it's painful. TNA also needs someone like Jeff Jarrett back. They need some of the legacy back. I'm glad to see Chris Bay's back in a professional wrestling ring as well. Like, you lose Speedball Mike Bailey, you lose Josh Alexander, you lose Hammerstone. You're holding on to Mustafa Ali and Nick Nemeth, which is great. You've got some good young talents there. But the creative direction you really do need. And it's just an element that they are losing just little things. And it's unfortunate. Like, it's unfortunate, but I am hoping they turn this around. I do. They need to get rid of certain talent as well that are just overpaid and don't have any effective contribution at all. But I would not be lying when I say I am genuinely worried because of this departure. This departure has caused chaos. And right now, when you look at TNA in general, TNA shouldn't be going after chaotic decision. That in the UK scene, they do well when it comes to bringing in UK talent. Leon Slater is an example of that. The one thing I will say, this is something that TNA does do well until they just let things go astray. When it comes to partnerships, TNA really do well when it comes to partnerships, but they just let little things get the better of them. Yeah. Yeah, the young talent just come in as another one, yeah. Hopefully people don't leave. They need to stay strong for the company because Moose in his words said the locker room is friendly. Moose is also a prick. See, the annoying thing is, Moose is a decent wrestler, but he's an absolute prick. Yeah, Reece. Young lad. Really, really good worker though. Problem with TNA's always had a good locker room. They need to get rid of people that just have overstayed their welcome. And need to go back to what the company was built on. Young, exciting, athletic talent that will work for you, will build a division, build a company. You add in veterans that can actually offer, not veterans that will do nothing. Like guys like PCO had overstayed his welcome. He had to go. They shouldn't have gave up on Hammerstone. They could have done better to keep Josh Alexander. They should have done better to keep Speedball Mike Bailey. Keeping Mustafa Ali and Nick Nemeth are great for TNA. Like, they are great because they are the two they've got. Santana's another one. Santana has shown why he is better than Ortiz and is not even close. The use of Eric Young and Kazarian as veterans prove they can do veterans well. The Hardys are still maintaining quite well. But that's as far as you go. Like Ace Austin, great talent. The Rascals, great young team. The Good Hands, good young tag team. The Northern Armory tag team besides Eric Young work well. But then you're overpaying on guys like Mike Myers. You're overpaying on Moose for another 4 years. You're overpaying on certain women's talents that aren't good enough. The Elegance duo offer you nothing. Get rid of them. It's decisions like that that's stupid. What's wrong with Moose is nothing to do with the domestic abuse, but that is what he did do is worse than what she tried to do to him. The problem with Moose is Moose has offered very little in terms of creative for the past couple of years. He's won titles, but his title reigns haven't been particularly interesting. His last world title run wasn't exciting at all. It wasn't good. The minute ended, relief, but then he went and won the X Division title, which he had no right winning anyway. Not because it's about no limits, but Moose should never have been involved in that title in the first place. It does him no favours. His title run hasn't been good. It needs to end soon. And TNA, by the way, missed a trick. He should have lost to Jeff Hardy. See, I can criticise him for those, but you know what TNA are doing right now? Those younger talents I've mentioned, they're using them really well. They're giving them spotlight. They're giving them time. They're letting them develop. But you cannot consistently go back to talent that are going to do nothing. Letting Rhino go was a smart move. Well, you're wrong, because he did have bad matches with both belts. And I can say that comfortably. Here's one that was bad. The Eric Young World title match was bad. That was bad. In terms of the X Division title, he hasn't even made the squash match look good. He was bad at WrestleCade. His match with Speedball didn't deliver, by the way. Like, that didn't deliver either. So it says it all. He's had some matches that are good, but he's had a few that are genuinely bad. But because he is your highest earner for no bloody reason, he is going to consistently get these opportunities, which is wrong. Well, it wasn't a good match, and I had to sit through it. It wasn't good. I'll go on a limb and say the last good match he had was the match when he beat Chris Sabin for the world title. That was last January, 2024. Actually, no, that's harsh. His title defense against Nick Nemeth was good as well. But he is used too much. His opportunities should have been given to Hammerstone. No worries, Matt. Cheers for watching, fella. Hammerstone is a better worker, better mic, better promo, better wrestler than Hammerstone. Steve Macklin is a better promo, better wrestler than Moose. His non-title match with Santana before he won the X Division title was good. But that was good, because that's because Santana carried him. He ain't going anywhere, sadly. The speedball match didn't work because they ruined it after 5 minutes. Like, they actually overdone Speedball in the worst way, and Speedball was one of their best booked talents. They actually took away his best elements, which is unfortunate because they could have had something. The Ace Austin match was decent. Hard to Kill, that match was decent. Well, Genesis, sorry. That was decent. But it's not going anywhere. Anyway, speaking of going somewhere, I'm off. Anyway, I'll be back tomorrow. Because I will... What am I doing tomorrow? Oh yeah, I'm reviewing Dynamite. We'll see how that goes. I don't know. We'll find out. But in the meantime, thanks guys. Also, thanks to everyone that's tuned in the chat. Thanks to my co-host Ailey. In the meantime, I'll see... Oh, hold on. What's this? Oh. Well, I don't know. Maybe it's my mum's birthday. But then again, right early in the night, I don't need to worry about that. We'll see. I'm probably not. But I will definitely review it. In the meantime, see you later, folks. Have a good night.